Well, good Saturday morning to all you folks out there in internet land. Hi, hello, and how are you doing? My name is Brian Trippett. I am the Front Porch Conservative, and welcome to this special Memorial Day weekend version of Front Porch Brunch. This thing we do on Saturday mornings where we get together, we talk about the news, we give our views, and before you know it, we try to finally make sense out of this crazy thing we call life. We are on Rumble, we are on Twitter, and we are on that quaint little alternative social media platform known as YouTube. So if you would not mind, please do me some favors as always. If you are not subscribed to this channel, go ahead and do so. Give me a subscription on YouTube. Give me a subscription on Rumble. Daggone it. I'm a hardworking brother from another mother out here. I'm just trying to make my way in the social media world, and you can help me make my way better by simply hitting that subscribe button. If you're not doing that, well, actually, what am I mean if you're not doing that? You are going to do that, and while you're at it when you're doing that, go ahead, hit the thumbs up button on YouTube and Rumble, and leave a comment about this live stream. Believe it or not, it really does push it out there for people who maybe aren't familiar with this channel, and they're trying to figure out, hey, what the heck is this guy in the hat all about? Well, you can help them understand that better by letting them see this live stream, and all you've got to do to make that happen is a thumbs up and a comment. Also, share the link around with your friends, and while you're at it, hit the bell for notifications. We want to make sure that you are always aware when new material is coming out, be it a live stream or a video, which, by the way, for regulars of Fedora Nation, I did a little something unusual this morning. I don't necessarily always do, but it seemed like a good time to follow up on it. I've got a video out this morning about the judge up in Boston who has now put a restraining order on the Trump administration with regard to their efforts to get Harvard to not enroll foreign students for 2025 and 2026. As a matter of fact, let me take a quick peek, see how that bad boy is doing. It's getting there slowly but surely. For a Memorial Day weekend, that's not too bad. So, yeah, check it out if you haven't seen it yet. Share it around with your friends. It's a little 7-minute video. It's not too long. So, hopefully folks enjoy it and they find it informative. I mean, it seemed like the right thing to do. I mean, I posted a video Thursday night, Friday morning, talking about the letter that Department of Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem sent to the administration of Harvard telling them, oh, by the way, we've revoked your certification that allows you to enroll foreign students for 2025 and 26. Well, no sooner did that letter hit the desk at Harvard than Harvard went to court Friday morning. I thought, well, I got to do a video about this. So, yeah, it's out there. Check it out this morning. I'd appreciate it. Glad to have all you guys here. And before we get any further into this live stream, happy Memorial Day weekend to all of you. I'm glad you guys are here. We're going to try and keep this one relatively short because I know people are going to be traveling. I know that people got family members in and all that. So, we're going to try and be respectful of everybody's time. But I wanted to say a few things, and there's some items in the news we definitely ought to talk about. So with that, let us see who all is here this morning. We'll start over on Rumble, and the OG Wingnuts are here. WWG1 says, good morning, all. And WWG1, I have found your contributions. They are all set to roll, my friend. TBA says, good morning, all. Happy Decoration Day weekend. And we're going to get into a little bit of history on that, sir. So he also says, oh, good, I've got an outdoors to visit. Well, yes, like I say, we're going to be respectful of your time. Try and do so as much as we possibly can. So, all right, let's check it out over on the YouTube side and see who all is here. Z Highness representing the 199. She's in the house this morning. Good morning, my dear. Mwah. Loves you, darling. Loves you, loves you, loves you. Yes, God bless you too, baby. Let's see. Adam is in the house, one of our favorite crazy Canadians. He is here. Yes, and hello to you, sir. A fist bump from the lower 48. Let's see who else be here this morning. The Duke is in the house. Alarm at 7:29, and I am here. God bless you, Duke. For you folks out on the West Coast, oh my gosh, the fact you're getting up at 7:30 a.m. for this live stream is very humbling and greatly appreciated. Duke, we're glad to have you here. Fist bump to you, brother. Let's see. Who else is in the house? Good morning, Gypsy, you gorgeous thing, you. Mwah! Loves you, darling. Loves you, loves you, loves you. Let's see. Adam says, Brian is very candid. He doesn't keep things under his you know, I had a good vibe going right now, and then you just just killed it on me. Oh my goodness. TBA over on Rumble asked the question, how is Up in Connecticut doing? I haven't heard any updates. If someone has heard from her, let me know. But I have not heard any updates myself. I knew she was going in for some procedures and tests. I want to say it was the beginning of this week, but I haven't heard anything yet. So if anybody knows or anybody's got some 411, let me know. Oh, by the way, Z Highness, when you get a moment, if you would not mind, pop over to Rumble, because TBA asks a question that really it's better for you to answer. He asks, what the heck is the 199? So if you get a moment, I'm not saying you have to do it right now, but if you get a moment during this live stream, would you pop over there and answer his question about what the heck is the 199? T. Gagliotti is here on the Rumble side. Hey to you, sir. Fist bump in your general direction. Glad to have you here this fine Memorial Day weekend. Lana's in the house this morning on the YouTube side. I'm not surprised the Boston judge is being shady. If you know, you know, right? Ain't that the truth? Mm-hmm. Mwah. Good morning to you, baby. Let's see who else is here. Let's see who be here. Yeah, truer words were never spoken. Never spoken. Wild and crazy place. Just saying. Goodness me, goodness me, goodness me. Okay. Let's see. I haven't heard from Up in Connecticut since she was going for her procedure last Monday. Okay. I'll probably reach out to her this weekend over Twitter just to see how she's doing. And but if I find out anything, guys, I will let you know. I promise you that. So, okay. Let us like I said, this is going to be a kind of a chill Memorial Day weekend stream. But like I said, there's stuff going on in the news. We definitely got to talk about it. But before we get into the news, let us give ourselves some chuckles, thanks to the efforts of many on this fine program, WWG1 and Adam in particular, who have brought us the merry memes. Now, for those of you watching this live stream and you're like, what the heck is he talking about? The Merry Memes section of this show is that moment when we find some good memes out there on the internet. We share them with everybody to just provide a laugh. And hopefully they provide a laugh or some thoughtful commentary, but mostly we're just laughing just for the sake of being able to do it. So with that, we will dive right into the Merry Memes. And let me just make sure I've got everything set up the way it should be. Yes, I believe. Yes, I am good here. Okay. So, Memorial Day weekend, it's a time for reflection. It's a time for quiet. It's a time to remember, particularly those who've worn the uniform but died in the service of their country. But on the other hand, I mean, there are always noises that you hear in this weekend. You hear the laughter of children. You hear the meat on the grill at the barbecue. You're making some hot dogs and hamburgers because families tend to get together for these sort of weekends. But there are some sounds that when you hear them, they truly do make you think. And I tell you what, folks, I don't know about you, but there's nothing. I agree with this one wholeheartedly. There is nothing, absolutely nothing, that screeches louder than the brakes on a gravy train. And all around Washington, you tend to be hearing that sort of thing these days, especially ever since January 20th of 2025. A lot of screeching brakes on trains, let's just say. Gravy trains in particular. So there you go, folks. There you go. All right. What else do we have in the way of the merry memes? Let's see here. Oh, yeah. Oh, speaking of Speaking of things happening since January 20th of 2025, have y'all heard about Donald Trump's efforts to require over-the-road truck drivers to speak English? I think they've come up with an interesting poster to try to make that effort. And apparently, if you're not down with the effort, well, this is what's happening to you. Yeah, your truck's getting stopped. So it's either English for the over-the-road trucker, or you're not going any further. Comprende, mi amigo? So just saying. I'm just saying. Got to give it to Trump. That man is everywhere. He's everywhere all at once. Goodness me. What this man does, I tell you. Let's see. Well, hang on a minute. Now, Adam says WWG1 is the patent to my Montgomery. Well, that's an interesting way of putting it among you meme sharers. TBA says, talking about this meme, those companies should be fined up the wazoo too for hiring illegals. That's a good point. That's a really good point. Hadn't thought about that one in a while, but you're absolutely right. No trucketto. Oh my god. Oh, Z Highness, girl, how could you? Just, oh my gosh. Y'all are awful. Speaking of gravy trains, yeah. He need be trying him a new gravy train. Let's see. What else be going on here? Let us see. Okay. What else do we have in the way of the merry memes? One moment, folks, as I get this set up, because sometimes I just gotta make sure that by the by, have you guys heard about the new poll that's come out? The scientific community in America gets a whole lot of crap. Trust the science. They always keep telling us and all that stuff. But a poll has come out to give an idea of what scientists really think about certain things that are going on in American society. So with that, let me share the results. This is a headline from one of the latest polls that's been done. 97% of all scientists agree with the people funding them. I don't know, guys. Do y'all think this might be problematic, or is it just me? Call me crazy on this one. I don't really know quite I don't quite know how to react to this one, actually. So, I don't know. Just, I don't know. Interesting. It is an interesting poll result, I will say that. Very interesting indeed. 90% of all scientists agree with the people who are funding them. I don't know. I could detect a little bit of bias in that, but that might be just me. All right. Well, going back to that previous meme about the English speaking truckers. Adam says Trump has no truck with non-English. Oh. Adam, are you trying to derail this live stream? Or maybe the better question is, are you trying to jackknife this live stream? I tell you the truth. Oh my gosh. Yeah. Trust the science, they say. Trust the science. Yep. Show me the money. That's right. That is true. That is so stinking true. Oh, goodness me. What else do we have in the way of the merry memes this morning? Let's see. Yes. What do you get, ladies and gentlemen, when you mix the Bible, Jerry Seinfeld, and a question about immigration? What do you get when you mix Seinfeld, the Bible, and a question about immigration? Well, ladies and gentlemen, if you're wanting an answer to that question, let me just put this one up here for you because it kind of answers itself. Jerry, as the Bible, well, heck, I'm not even going to put words on this one. Just let it speak for itself. Yeah, had to put this one up on Memorial Day weekend, didn't I? Jeez. I tell you what, I don't know where WWG1 finds some of these, but no, it was Adam who found this one. Excuse me, it was Adam who found this one. I'm sorry, WWG1. I was about to take your name in vain. My apologies. So, like I said, Adam, I don't know where you found this one, brother, but oh my gosh, this one's interesting. Oh my goodness, indeed. Anywho, all right. What else do we have? TBA says, "Don't feed the illegals; they won't leave." Right. I mean, man, you're right on it. I'll tell you what. Oh goodness me. Let's see. Oh. Now, one other thing about Memorial Day weekend is that, people tend to gather around the television sets to watch certain events. I mean, for example, I had an uncle who's passed away now, and when it came to Memorial Day Sunday, he lived for it. And I'll tell you why. Because among his other interests in life, he was a motorsport enthusiast. Now, for those of you who like auto racing, Memorial Day Sunday is the day that is made for you, and I'll tell you why. Well, let me rephrase that. I'll tell folks who are not motorsports enthusiasts why Memorial Day Sunday is just awesome if you love car racing, because on that day, you have three different auto races that you can watch on television. You have the Grand Prix of Monaco, number 1, which is in Europe. So that basically takes up your morning from about 6 a.m. till about 10 or 11 o'clock. You have the Indianapolis 500, which starts at about noon and goes till about, call it, 4 o'clock, something like that. And then you have the Coca-Cola 600 from Charlotte, North Carolina, which is a race that will take you from about 5:30 in the evening till about 10:30, 11 o'clock at night. So from the moment your feet hit the floor, to the time your head lays down on the pillow, you've got wall-to-wall car racing. If you like IROC, Indy Series, NASCAR, baby, tomorrow is just made for you. And aside from car racing, I mean, there are all kinds of things that people do gathering around the television. They watch movies, maybe patriotic movies, period pieces, etc. But, televisions, no matter how technologically advanced they are, they will tend to give you trouble. So in those moments, we recommend patience because just remember, folks, the networks are working very hard to try to eliminate their technical difficulties. However, these days, their technical difficulties tend to be exacerbated. So, just give them a little bit of grace there at CNN, CBS, ABC, NBC, etc. Give them a little bit of grace. They're trying to figure out a way to get around their technical difficulties so you can enjoy your television viewing. Just remember, they're just trying to help you out, y'all. Just trying to help you out. Oh my gosh! Professor Tie-Dye is in the house. Oh my goodness. How you doing, you son of a buck? Good to see you, and a big old fist bump in your general direction, friend. Man, hey, for y'all that do not follow this guy on Twitter, give yourself a chance and do it. He is very insightful, very funny. I've been on many a live stream with this guy, and he is a good dude. Fedora, the man in the fedora, the fine fella in the fedora, he recommends Professor Tie-Dye. Hey, Professor, do me a favor. Drop your Twitter handle in chat and let people know where they can find you. And I'll pop it up there. T Gagliotti over on Rumble says, "Have you seen Jeff Stanhope stand up on Give a Man a Fish, going back to that previous. I have not, but I will jot myself a note right now. Give me 1 second here, folks. Jeff Stanhope. Give a Man a Fish. Okay, I will check that out, sir. Thank you for that recommendation, T. Gagliotti. Okay. All right. Here it is. All right. Give this guy a follow on Twitter because daggone it, he's good people. Give him a follow on Twitter. He is very, very good people. Yeah, so check him out. Like I say, glad to have you here this morning, you son of a gun. Glad to have you here this morning. Oh, goodness me. Goodness. You never know who's going to show up on the electronic front porch, daggone it. Interesting times in which we find ourselves. Okay. Let's get to some news that's going on out there. And God, it's so good to have all you guys here this morning. An absolute pleasure to see you in the house. All right. TBA says, meh, I'd rather be grilling as opposed to watching TV. Well, I can respect that. I can totally respect that, sir. Of course, you could be grilling in front of a TV. Just saying. All right. Got 2 or 3 news items to go over. And like I say, we're going to keep this relatively short. I know you guys have got family in town. You got stuff you want to do on a long weekend. And I totally respect that. But, there's some stuff happened over the past day or so. And I thought, we can talk about it real quick. So yesterday, Donald Trump was in the Oval Office. You can Netflix and grill as opposed to Netflix and chill. Just saying. Now, the other day, Donald Trump was in the Oval Office signing some executive orders, and I'm not going to lie, a lot of them, they're all important, don't get me wrong, but this one that he signed on Friday, I've sort of been waiting to see it happen, because frankly, I think this is an underutilized area of the economy that needs to be turned loose. And I don't know if you guys heard about it or not, but Trump signed some executive orders related to nuclear energy in the United States. And with that, I take you guys to the pages of NBC News for the following. Headline: Trump signs executive order aimed at easing regulation and expanding nuclear energy production. The orders aim to help address growing electricity demand due to AI technology. Article written by Denise Chow, Alexandra Marquez, and Megan Shannon. We've got the following. Dateline, Washington, D.C. President Donald Trump on Friday signed 4 executive orders aimed at easing regulations on and expanding the production of nuclear energy. The executive orders aim to reform the nuclear energy research at the Department of Energy, clear a path to allow the Energy Department to build nuclear reactors on federally owned land, overhaul the Nuclear Regulatory Commission, and expand uranium mining and enrichment in the U.S. The CEOs of several nuclear energy companies, including Joseph Dominguez of Constellation Energy, Jacob DeWitt of Oklo, and Scott Nolan of General Matter, stood alongside the President, Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth, and Interior Secretary Doug Burgum while Trump signed the executive orders. In remarks before the president signed the orders, Burgum said that they would turn the clock back on over 50 years of overregulation of an industry, adding later that each of these help attack separate issues that have held back this industry. Meanwhile, Trump described the energy industry as, quote, hot, telling reporters, it's a hot industry, it's a brilliant industry, you have to do it right. A senior administration official who briefed reporters on the signing said the executive order will allow nuclear reactors to be built on federal land was aimed in part at addressing a growing electricity demand due to AI technology, telling reporters that the order allows for safe and reliable nuclear energy to power and operate critical defense facilities and AI data centers. Trump's executive orders also aim to speed up the review and regulatory process for building and operating nuclear reactors, with the 4th executive order including a provision that requires the Nuclear Regulatory Commission to make decisions on new nuclear reactor licenses within 18 months, the officials said. The new timetable reflected a goal of lowering regulatory burdens and shortening the licensing timeline for nuclear reactors, they said. Dominguez, in remarks before Trump signed the orders, lauded the president's decision to shorten the regulatory process, saying, quote, "The problem in the industry has historically been regulatory delay. We're wasting too much time on permitting, and we're answering silly questions, not the important ones." Okay, let's talk about this for a few minutes. The United States, at least from my perspective anyway, and I could be wrong about this because there are people out there way smarter at this sort of thing than I am. We have, I won't say ignored what we could do through nuclear energy, but we definitely don't turn it loose the way we should. And I think part of that goes back to the late 1970s. Now, for those of y'all old enough to remember, the 3 Mile Island incident in Pennsylvania. Okay, you had a reactor with a near meltdown, right? And that tended to spook everybody. And then you had a film come out just around the same time called The China Syndrome. And if you've never seen that film, I recommend it to you. Jane Fonda, Michael Douglas, and Jack Lemmon. Great movie. And between those two things together, a lot of people have speculated it kind of spooked everybody real bad about, using nuclear energy. The French, and believe me, I cannot believe I'm even saying this, the French are almost completely carbon free in that they don't use coal-fired plants and they don't use natural gas, or at least a lot of it. But when it comes to the use of nuclear power to get electricity for their country, my God, they've got reactors all over the place. Now, granted, geographically, France is way smaller than the United States. It has fewer people. I grant you all of that. But when it comes to their electrical grid, they're almost 100% nuclear. Now, normally I don't give the French credit much for anything, but you know what? I can't fault them for that one. Now, I'm not saying that the United States ought to be 100% nuclear or 100% coal-fired power or 100% natural gas. I say, what the heck? Let's have all of it. But for some reason, we have shunned applying, and building more in the way of nuclear reactors for electricity purposes. Well, Trump said, the heck with that. We ain't got time for that. If we're going to have AI, we got to have some juice. And Gypsy, you are absolutely right about this point. AI uses an incredible amount of energy. So, I mean, I say to the President of the United States, good on you. Good on you, my friend. I'm glad to see this one happen. This is, I think, something really good. Now, over on Rumble, the boys over there are saying, T-Gag Yachty, big, beautiful nukes. There you go. TBA says, and let us not forget that nuclear reactor meltdown over in Ukraine in the early 90s. Yeah, I mean, there have been events over the years that have spooked, and I can understand the caution. Okay, I can definitely understand the caution. Okay. I mean, you have something like this happen, you've got multiple risks to people, not just, in the short term, in the long term. So you got to know what the heck you're doing here. But I think this is a smart move. Have I heard of the personal nuclear egg? I may have. Gypsy, stop me where I'm wrong, but it's almost a compressed nuclear reactor that can power individual homes. Am I on the right track with that one, or am I totally off? Because I think I've heard of the very concept you're talking about. The one thing that's out of this executive order that Trump wants to see happen, he wants 3 smaller nuclear power plants up and running by July of next year. Which, by the way, that's something else that I think has changed since the late 70s or the early 80s, in that, everybody always assumed, you have to have this enormous amount of land and this enormous facility to generate nuclear power. No, not necessarily. The technology, both in the construction of a reactor and in the computer use that required to power it, it's gotten a lot better. You can have smaller reactors and power, just as much. Mr. Scott Awesome. Well, hello, Mr. Scott Awesome over on Rumble. We're glad to see you, sir. He says, howdy, feds. We are not the feds. We's the anti-feds. Okay, so I am right in my recollection about this. A tiny nuclear powered reactor in the shape of an egg. Hey, if we can find a way to make this safe, marketable, I mean, don't get me wrong. I want to see coal fire powered plants, if I can get that out of my mouth this morning. Coal powered plants succeed. I want to see natural gas electricity facilities succeed. I want to see everybody succeed. But if we can find a way to take nuclear energy and reduce it down to the size of an egg or something that's egg shaped and it powers a house, I'm for it. If it's cost effective and it doesn't, and we can make it happen, absolutely, let's do it. I'm down for that idea. But yeah, I applaud Trump on this one. And I'm not just saying that because I'm a supporter, but this makes sense. We focused on coal to produce electricity, which I think is a good thing. You need to do that. We focused on natural gas to produce electricity. And yes, we focused on renewables, wind and solar, which, fine, whatever. But when it comes to nuclear, we have tied one arm behind our back on this question. And frankly, I think this is one of the smartest things. I think it's one of the smartest things we could ever do. T. Gagliotti says, Trump is wrong about natural gas. It emits almost no CO2. Okay, that being the case, I agree with you, sir. I absolutely agree. I mean, look, we should be pursuing every form of electrical generation that's possible, okay? Now, mind you, I say that with the understanding I'm not that wild about wind and solar, okay, for a lot of reasons. Number one, I don't think they're practical. And number two, I don't think they generate the kind of electricity that we really need. To me, go with the big three: nuclear, coal, natural gas, okay? So to me, go that route, and let's just start cranking up the juice, which, by the way, is going to force us to finally start addressing the infrastructure in this country when it comes to the transfer of electricity. I mean, the power grid in this country, by a lot of people's accounting, is just, I'm not going to say it's dilapidated, but it's just in serious need of an upgrade. So, I definitely think this is a good idea. TBA over on Rumble says, an economy only grows to the size of its energy permits. Cheaper, abundant energy equals bigger economy, and the opposite is true too. Less energy equals smaller, weaker economy. Wind and solar are too expensive and not sustainable, TBA says. I agree with that completely. T. Gagliotti on Rumble says, nuclear is too cheap to meter. That's why we can't have it, LOL. Well, brother, you may be right about that. I'm just saying. And the Duke has been living half my life living in a nuclear. If you figure out a way to turn that into a rap song, you are proof, sir, that America, what a country, is so true. That's all I'm saying. Yakov Smirnoff reference for those who. Oh, hello, one of my favorite ladies on the electronic front porch. Mwah! Good morning, darling. Glad to have you here. TBA on Rumble says, if y'all like nuclear, wait until we have free Tesla energy. Go for it, Elon. That's all I'm saying. Jeez. Okay, a Duke. Duke. I think Adam's trying to help you with the lyrics on this thing. As I walk through the valley of the shadow of a mushroom cloud. Wait a minute, that doesn't exactly roll off the tongue real easy. But I'll let you and Duke worry about the lyrics to this song you guys are putting together about nuclear energy. See, you come to the electronic front porch and you just never know what's going to happen. There's commentary, there's creativity, there's songwriting. Man, we do it all here. What can I tell you? Oh, jeez. I tell you the truth. I tell you the truth. Oh, let's see. So, yeah, I saw that and I thought, you know what? This is a good thing. This is a good thing. I think Trump's moving in the right direction here. Because, like I said, when it comes to nuclear energy, we have just been, we have just gone out of our way, at least from my perspective. We've gone out of our way to tie our hands behind our back when it comes to the use of nuclear energy. And I don't know. I think we could be doing better. And I think Trump is definitely heading in the right direction. And, and as Gypsy rightly points out, artificial intelligence is going to take a huge amount of electrical power to make work. So the sooner we get cracking on producing more electrical power in this country, the better. Okay, now wait a minute. Z Highness is getting in on this. Adam, Duke. Okay, you got to include the lady. Apparently she wants to help you. She's like, drop the beat. Yo. Oh, gosh. Between the three of y'all, I'm scared to death what y'all come up with. That's all I'm saying. Oh, Lord have mercy. Lord have mercy. TBA says, remember to hit the thumbs up, folks. Absolutely hit that thumbs up button, daggone it. Use all the help I can get. He also says, we could use Germany as an example of what not to do. You bring up a really good point, TBA, going back to this discussion real quick about nuclear energy. I have never, and again, I'm across the pond. I'm just reading what I read, hearing what I hear, etc. But I have never in all my life heard about a country like Germany, which has an absolute glorious legacy, a fantastic history of industrial production. I mean, the Germans, when they want to crank something out, boy, are they good at it. But they have gone out of their way over the past 15, 20 years to absolutely de-industrialize their country. Now, what do I mean by that? They're shutting down power plants. They're shutting down coal-fired power plants. They're shutting down nuclear. I mean, yeah, they're going with natural gas, but I mean, oh my God. It's almost like they want to go back to the Stone Ages. And this is a nation, like I said, laying aside some really bad moments in their history over the past 150, 175 years. Man, there were moments that nation could absolutely, when it came to like producing and manufacturing things, they were legendary, absolutely legendary. And to watch them just absolutely fall apart as a country, as far as, their industrial production, it's a crying shame. I don't understand why Germany, England, and England's just about as bad. I don't understand why these countries want to revert back to the Stone Ages. I'm sorry. I'd kind of like to have a better, more prosperous way of life, an easier way of living. I love the conveniences that I have, my electric refrigerator and my electricity in my house, and, this computer that I'm operating and, all that. I don't get it. I don't get it. It makes no sense to me. Yeah, well, they ain't wrong either. You're not wrong there, brother. Yeah, and this is true too, Duke. WWG1 over on Rumble says, what do you call German in a bad mood? Sauerkraut. Oh, my God. I don't know which one of y'all this morning is worse. Adam, Duke, WWG1, y'all are killing me this morning. I mean, you're killing me. Oh, my God. Sauerkraut. A German in a bad mood. Oh, God. If this live stream gets 5 views this morning, I'm going to be shocked. No, I'm just kidding. I love y'all. It is funny. That's a great play on words. Oh, goodness me. Well, I'll tell you what. T. Gagliotti says the European Union is being run by Ursula von der Leyen. I know you're joking about her name, T. Gagliotti, but that ain't too far from being wrong, brother. I'm just saying. Oh, goodness me. Goodness me. Now, wait a minute. I don't know if all Germans are surly. Really? Now we're gonna get a fight going with the Germans on this channel. Oh, great. Thanks a lot. Here I'm trying to grow this channel, and everybody over in Germany who's watching this go, Indy, we are not surly, we are not angry. I don't know what is doing. Pete. You two? Really? You two? Really? You're jumping in on this? Oh my god. Just I don't know. I don't know, folks. I can't handle it. Oh, y'all are awful. Y'all are awful. Mm, just terrible. Just terrible. Oh, goodness me. TBA says if the Germans aren't angry at their government, then they're living under a rock. He ain't wrong there. T. Gagliotti says, you are the worst. WURS. Why, God? Why? I ask you, why? Oh, goodness me. Goodness me. All right, quick. Let's get out of this topic before we totally sink this live stream this morning. In a piece of really good news, and I do mean this, President Trump announced something yesterday on Truth Social, and I am glad to see this happen. Now, let's see what the details are, obviously, but this I am very glad to see. Now, for those of you who may not be familiar with this, let me kind of give you the backstory. U.S. Steel, based out of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, from the turn of the 20th century going forward, has been one of the great companies in the United States and a symbol of what American manufacturing could do. And what do, you ask? They make steel. They make steel that builds buildings. They make steel that do all kinds of different things. But as with a lot of the steel industry, and due to a lot of factors, and yes, I know what they are, there's a lot of them, U.S. Steel fell on hard times. Well, there was a point they might have gone under, or might have been, I won't say out of business, but definitely not what they once were. Well, on Friday, Trump made an announcement of something that's already been cooking in the background, but now it's finally come to fruition, and I'd like to share it with you guys. From his Truth Social page, we have the following. I am proud to announce, after much consideration and negotiation, U.S. Steel will remain in America and keep its headquarters in the great city of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. For many years, the name U.S. Steel was synonymous with greatness, and now it will be again. This will be a planned partnership between the United States Steel and Nippon Steel, which will create at least 70,000 jobs and add $14 billion to the U.S. economy. The bulk of that investment will occur in the next 14 months. This is the largest investment in the history of the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. My tariff policies will ensure that steel will once again be forever made in America. From Pennsylvania to Arkansas, from Minnesota to Indiana, American made is back. I will see you all at U.S. Steel in Pittsburgh on Friday, May 30th for a big rally. Congratulations to all. Now, this is pretty good news. Now, like I said, let's see what the details of this deal are. But for my part, hey, I'm glad to see this happen. I really am. I think this is a good thing. And we've got an article from NBC News, which kind of fleshes out some of the details on this deal. So give me a second. I'll get this popped up for you. Here we go. Headline: Trump clears Nippon merger with U.S. Steel. Article written by Spencer Kimball of CNBC News. We have the following. President Donald Trump on Friday cleared the merger of U.S. Steel and Nippon Steel after the Japanese steelmaker's previous bid to acquire its U.S. rival had been blocked on national security grounds. Quote, this will be a partnership between United States Steel and Nippon Steel, which will create 70,000 jobs and add $14 billion to the U.S. economy, as we just read on Truth Social. U.S. Steel's headquarters will remain in Pittsburgh, and the bulk of the investment will take place over the next 14 months. U.S. Steel shares surged more than 20% to close at $52.01 per share after Trump's announcement. Pennsylvania Governor Josh Shapiro applauded the agreement, saying he worked with local, state, and federal leaders to press for the best deal to keep U.S. Steel headquartered in Pittsburgh, protect union jobs, and secure the future of steelmaking in western Pennsylvania, end of quote. In his own statement, Lieutenant Governor Austin Davis called the announcement, quote, promising, but added, quote, I want to make sure everyone involved in this deal holds up their end of the bargain. I look forward to seeing the promised investments become a reality and the workers receive everything they fought for, end of quote. President Joe Biden had blocked Nippon Steel from purchasing U.S. Steel for $14.9 billion in January, citing national security concerns. Biden said at the time the acquisition would create a risk to supply chains that are critical for the U.S. Trump, however, ordered a new review of the proposed acquisition in April, directing the Committee on Foreign Investment in the United States to determine, quote, whether further action in this matter may be appropriate. Trump said he would hold a rally at U.S. Steel in Pittsburgh on May 30. All right. Well, to me, that seems some good news. I think that's very good. And we'll see what happens. Like I say, devil's in the details, but let's see what happens. Mr. Scott Awesome over on Rumble says their management sucks. Now, are you referring to Nippon Steel or are you referring to U.S. Steel? I got a feeling you're referring to U.S. Steel, but I just want to make sure I'm understanding it correctly. Let's see. What else do we have here? Adam says, I have a lot of respect for the Japanese. I just wish they were on our side in the war. Understandable. World War I, they were, actually, as a matter of fact. Zero involvement from Mitsubishi. Okay. Nippon, which is Japanese for Japan, hence the term NIPS. Okay, did not know that. Interesting. So yeah, we got that little piece of news that came out on Friday. And you know what? Like I say, let's see what the details are beyond the headlines, beyond the Truth Social announcement. I mean, I'm not saying Trump's lying, but I just want to see all of it before anybody, gets totally happy with this. Mr. Scott Awesome clarifies his post on Rumble and says, I was referring to the U.S. steelhead honchos. At least a couple of them are woke. Oh, I did not know that. Okay, I can sort of see why you're saying that the management at U.S. Steel sucks. Okay, thank you for that. All right. So yeah, we've got that going on, which I think is pretty good. Like I said, let's see what the details are about this, merger between U.S. Steel and Nippon Steel. So see where it goes from there. All right. Let me do a real quick commercial. It's about, what is it now? 11:20? Okay. It's 11:20 on a Saturday morning. Welcome into the Memorial Day weekend version of Front Porch Brunch, a live stream that we do where we catch up on the news, we give our views, and we try and make sense out of this crazy thing we call life. So if you're here for the first time and maybe you're not a member of Fedora Nation, well, I can make that real easy for you. To make that happen, all you have to do is subscribe on YouTube and Rumble. Believe me, we are a going little concern. We'd like to be a going big concern, and we can do that if you subscribe to the channel on YouTube and on Rumble. And you can find me in both places under the Front Porch Conservative. Also, hit the thumbs up button and leave a comment on this live stream. Believe it or not, it really does help with pushing this out there so people who maybe haven't seen my channel before or seen my work, they get a taste of what I do, and hopefully they want to come back for more. And you can make that happen with a simple thumbs up and a comment in chat. Also, hit the bell for notifications. Let's make sure you're always aware of what's going on out there. And finally, do me a favor and share the link around to your friends. Maybe you've got people who are looking for a nice, fun place to check out the news. Well, here you go. We talk about the news. We do interviews, we bring on guests, we try and have as much fun here as we possibly can, and you guys are the best audience on all of social media, so God bless every last one of you. I love all you guys. Thank you for every time you're here. Thank you for every comment, contribution, and super chat or Rumble rant or everything you guys do to help this little channel grow. It is greatly appreciated, truly. I mean it, because one man by himself cannot do all this. If there's no audience for the work, then the work is nice, but it doesn't really mean a whole lot. And truly, you guys, I truly do mean it. I think you're one of the smartest audiences on the whole of the internet. So God bless every last one of you. Okay. We are going to move to a different compartment of the train, as it were. And we're going to go straight into HodgePodge stew. Got a couple or three items for you. And then we're going to close it out with some thoughts about Memorial Day, or some comments, I should say. And with that, HodgePodge stew, for those of you who, I agree with that. You're also maybe the silliest audience on the internet, but you know what? I love your all sense of humor. You guys are great. For those of you maybe who've never watched my live stream before, HodgePodge stew is that section where we share some stories that maybe didn't get all that much attention, but definitely we ought to take a look at. They definitely need to be talked about. And with that, looks like Trump is on the tariff war train again. And, I can kind of understand why he's feeling this way. Did you guys see the other day where Trump is threatening the European Union with a 50% tariff? And he went after Tim Cook at Apple and said, I'm going to put a 25% tariff on your product if you don't start making it in the U.S. Here's a headline from the Associated Press. Trump threatens 50% tariffs on EU and 25% penalties on smartphones as his trade war intensifies. Article by Josh Boak. We have the following. President Donald Trump on Friday threatened a 50% tax on all imports from the European Union, as well as 25% tariff on smartphones unless the products are made in the United States. The threats delivered over social media reflect Trump's ability to disrupt the global economy. I love the way there's no bias to this guy, obviously. No. Reflect Trump's ability to disrupt the global economy with a burst of typing. Oh God, Josh, simmer down a little bit, okay? As well as the reality that his tariffs have yet to produce the trade deals he is seeking or the return of domestic manufacturing he has promised voters. Yep, no bias whatsoever from this guy. No, not at all. No. Anyway, the Republican president said he wants to charge higher import taxes on goods from the EU, a long-standing U.S. ally, than from China, a geopolitical rival that had its tariffs cut to 30% this month, so Washington and Beijing could hold negotiations. Trump was upset by the lack of progress in trade talks with the EU, which has proposed mutually cutting tariffs to zero, even as the president has publicly insisted on preserving a baseline 10% tax on most imports. Quote, our discussions with them are going nowhere, Trump posted on Truth Social. Therefore, I'm recommending a straight 50% tariff on the European Union starting on June 1st. There is no tariff if the product is built or manufactured in the United States. Speaking later in the Oval Office, Trump stressed he was not seeking a deal with the EU and might delay the tariffs if more companies invest in the United States. Quote, I'm not looking for a deal, Trump told reporters. We've set the deal. It's at 50%. Going a little further into this article, Trump's tariffs against Europe have been preceded by a threat of imports against Apple for its plans to continue making iPhones in Asia. Apple now joins Amazon, Walmart, and other major U.S. companies in the White House's crosshairs as they try to respond to the uncertainty and inflationary pressures unleashed by his tariffs. Quote, I long ago informed Tim Cook of Apple I expect their iPhones will be sold in the U.S., United States of America, will be manufactured and built here too, not India or any place else. If this is not the case, a tariff of at least 25% must be placed on Apple for the U.S. Trump later clarified his post to say that all smartphones made abroad would be taxed and the tariffs would be coming as soon as the end of June. It would be also on Samsung or anybody that makes that product, Trump said. Otherwise, it wouldn't be fair. Well, folks, here we go again, but it's kind of justified. So, look, if the Europeans aren't going to budge on the negotiations, okay. Yeah, here we go. TBA says, Boac at Associated Press, what a joke. The great negotiator strikes again. Indeed. T. Gagliotti says, hilarious that there was an iPhone ad inserted in that story. Right? Right? So yeah. Looks like we may be headed back for more tariffs, so we'll see what happens. But yeah, Trump is like, guys, come along here. Need some help on this. Need some help indeed. Now, for something a little different, did you guys hear late yesterday evening about what's going on over the National Security Council? Anybody? Turns out that about 100 plus members of the National Security Council were put on administrative leave yesterday, basically shown the door. Now, as it stands right now, strictly speaking, there's no official director of the National Security Council. That job did belong to Mike Walls until he resigned to be appointed ambassador to the United Nations, which means that right now, Marco Rubio is running State Department and National Security Council. Well, that layoff of about 100 or so members of the NSC kind of goes along with something that's taking place, and I think this is a potentially welcomed development. I take you to Axios.com. Headline: Trump and Rubio take aim at National Security Council's deep state. Article by Mark Caputo and Alex Eisenstadt. We have the following. President Trump and Secretary of State Marco Rubio have orchestrated a vast restructuring of the National Security Council, reducing its size and transferring many of its powers to the state and defense departments. Trump's White House sees the NSC as notoriously bureaucratic and filled with longtime officials who don't share the president's vision. A White House official involved in the planning characterized the reorganization as Trump and Rubio's latest move against what they see as Washington's deep state. Quote, the NSC is the ultimate deep state. It's Marco versus the deep state. We're gutting the deep state, the official said of the move, which will cut the NSC staff to half of its current 355 members. They've got 350 members of the National Security Council staff? Good God. Yeah, by all means, cut it. Those cut from the NSC will be moved to other positions in government, officials said. Quote, the right sizing of the NSC is in line with its original purpose and the president's vision, Rubio told Axios in a statement. The NSC will now be better positioned to collaborate with agencies. White House officials point to an NSC structure that's filled with committees and meetings as they slow down decision-making and produce a lot of jargon and acronyms. There's sub-PCC, an advisory body to the PCC, policy coordination committees, and they feed the DCs, deputy committees, which in turn advises the PC, the principal committee of the cabinet secretaries. Quote, that's the bottom to top approach that doesn't work. It's going away, a senior White House official said. All those things feeding up to the principals are an unnecessary piece. Well, you know what? My response to that is, heck yeah, keep going, and I love it. These guys need the National Security Council, much like the State Department, has been in need of a serious trimming for years. So anything that reduces the size of the bureaucracy or restructures it or brings the power back in line, get it away from the unelected bureaucrats and get it back in the hands of people elected by the people, thumbs up from the electronic front porch. By all means, go for it, boys. I am way happy about that. T. Gagliotti says, as if Rubio didn't represent the deep state, laugh my ass. Now, okay, let's get into that for a second. And I'm not saying you're wrong, but I got to address something when it comes to Rubio, because this has been on my mind lately. I mean, really been on my mind as I'm reading the news. Right now, there is a very, very serious love affair with Marco Rubio. Hang on one second, folks. Sorry about that. I had to sneeze. Apologies. There is a very serious love affair with Marco Rubio. Okay. And don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong at all. When somebody does good work or they do a specific thing that is good, I say applaud them for it. Okay. I got no problem with that. And Marco Rubio has been doing some really good work as Secretary of State. Oh, thank you very much, dear. I appreciate that. Marco Rubio has been doing some really good work. And everybody has been falling all over themselves, praising. Again, if a guy or a woman does good work, yeah, praise them for it. If they're doing good stuff, praise them for it. But this is starting to get a little absurd in my book, and I'll tell you why. There's now talk coming up. Hey, what if we put J.D. Vance at the top of the ticket in 2028 for the Republicans, and we put Marco Rubio as the vice president? Whoa. Wait a minute. Y'all got to remember, this is the same Marco Rubio that was all about, immigration reform. He was cozying up to Dick Durbin and all those cats in the Senate some years back. Comprehensive immigration reform. I'm not so sure that don't get me wrong. I think Rubio is doing good work for my part. Okay. I think Rubio's doing good work. I'm not so sure that I'm sold on him going beyond Secretary of State. I mean, translation, I'm not so sure that all that neoconservative tendency that he had before he got his hands on the job is totally wrung out of him yet. Okay. I'm not so sure this road to Damascus conversion that he's got is long-term going to take. I mean, and if I'm wrong, you guys know me. If I'm wrong, I'll come back here and say it. I'm not totally convinced yet when it comes to Rubio. So, T. Gagliotti, I'm glad you brought that up, my friend. I do appreciate it. Rubio isn't even the head of the State Department. It's really Steve Witkoff. Now, I'll tell you what, Witkoff's been doing a lot of work. That boy's been working it. Going back to that story about the National Security Council, TBA says, fire them all. Trump is stripping the deep state of all its powers and levers of control. Amen, and I'm glad to see it. Way too many layers to that NSC. TBA also says, prediction, Trump will run in 2028. You think he will? Yeah, we'll see. Yes, we'll see. Lana, very true, honey. Very true. Very true. T. Gagliotti says, once a neocon, also a neocon. Always a neocon. Well, see, it's just, if I'm wrong about Rubio, I'll be the first one to apologize for it. I'm just not totally convinced yet. We'll see. Like I said, I could be absolutely wrong, but we'll see. Let's see. And regarding TBA's prediction about Trump running in 2028, WWG1 says, if Trump runs, he wins. You know what? I mean, look, I don't think it's going to happen. I don't think Trump wants one more term. I think he wants the things he's doing to be solidified into law so that they go on past him. Okay. I think he saw what happened in 2021 when the moment that Biden got sworn in, all the executive orders that Trump put in place ripped him up. Every policy was undone. I think Trump now realizes, look, if we're going to do something for the long term here, it's got to be something more than an executive order. We've got to codify it in the law. We've got to seep it into the bones of the federal government. Okay. But I don't know. I'm not so sure he wants a third term. And frankly, the Constitution prevents him from having one anyway. So, we'll see. But yeah, these are some really interesting comments this morning. Truly. TBA says Biden was brain dead since 2019. Buddy, you may not be wrong. I'm just saying. All right. What else do we have in the way of HodgePodge stew this morning? Oh, now here's a funny for you. David Hogg. The vice chairman of the Democrat National Committee. David Hogg went on the Breakfast Club with Charlemagne, and he opined his opinion about what he thinks the kind of candidate that the Democrat Party needs going forward, who he would think should be put up as an example of the best kind of Democrat for everybody. Well, guys, this one's going to make you chuckle, or possibly is going to make you cringe. So with that, let's take a listen to what profundity Democrat National Committee Vice Chairman David Hogg has come up with as he talks to Charlemagne.
Jasmine Crockett, I love her. Mm-hmm. She is amazing.
Yeah.
I think that people want to see somebody who fights and calls out the bullshit, ultimately. I think that's what Jasmine does, and we need a hell of a lot more people that are out there that are willing to do just that and call people out on their BS and not say, oh my God, Republicans are going to criticize me for saying this. Screw that. They're going to criticize you no matter what. So what we should be asking ourselves is, what are we really fighting for? Yeah. Because we know it matters. And I think Jasmine is frankly the type of leader that we're really looking to support in some senses, right? Somebody who is out there that frankly doesn't give a damn what the other side, at least the elected Republicans in Congress say what they believe in. And at least, even if you don't agree with her, you know what she stands for.
Yeah.
Because she makes it very clear. And people are really craving that right now. They don't want more politicians that say talking points that it doesn't even feel like they believe, or you don't even really know what they mean. They want somebody who's out there that says what they believe and doesn't care what somebody else thinks about it. They want that authenticity.
I'll just say this. If that is your idea, I mean, in one sense, he's right. I know, be shocked by the fact I'm saying that. In one sense, David Hogg is right. Voters want authenticity. They want somebody not afraid to tell you exactly what they think. Okay? So on that score, I don't necessarily disagree with him. Okay? I think David Hogg is absolutely right. The problem, though, it's not just that people crave authenticity. They crave someone that espouses a set of policies that they believe is going to make their life better. Okay? And I'm sorry, that's the problem with the Democrat Party. This is the realization that they have not come to or are not willing to come to. Okay? And the realization is this: all the policies that they're pushing, people don't want. If they wanted more woke in government, if they wanted everything that the Democrat Party is pushing right now, they would have voted for Kamala Harris. They didn't want that. What do the American people want? Well, depending on what part of the country you're talking about, some issues are geographically specific. But what the American people want are peace around the world, lower prices at home, secure borders, and equal justice under the law. That's it. Now, you can disagree about how we get to those goals. I understand that. But by and large, that's what the American people want. But the Democrats never address this. Never. And when Democrats do try to address it, they're shunned by their own party. Adam, I think you bring up an absolutely brilliant point here. Fetterman is one of the, I won't say he's the only Democrat. I'll say Ro Khanna of California is kind of in this vein. But Fetterman is like, whenever he, says something that is fairly commonsensical, people in his own party just absolutely give him hell for it. I mean, it's absolutely ridiculous. And this is part of the problem too. Democrats like Hogg cannot believe that people don't think like they do. It really amuses me. Truly, it amuses me when a reporter for, let's say, CNN or any of the big three networks or MSDNC or whoever goes out outside of New York City or Washington, D.C. to talk to the people. They're just shocked at the reaction that they get. They can't, they're expecting, we'll find people who don't like Trump and they hate his policies and we'll put it up on TV. Then they go out in the country and realize these people actually like Trump. They like what he's doing. It makes me laugh. It blows them away, but it makes me laugh. I think it's funny as all get out. And David Hogg's idea, give me more Jasmine Crockett's. I'm like, well, okay. You're solving half of your problem in that you've got somebody who's authentic, but the problem, David, is she's authentically bad. And probably not because she's a bad person per se. Look, I don't know her well enough to know whether I'd sit down and, eat dinner with her. But when I say she's authentically bad, what I mean is the policies that she's pushing, nobody wants. They don't want it. They don't agree with it. They've had enough of it, and they realize that it's bad for their lives, economically, politically, etc. Another good point. They fully believe they are open-minded and tolerant. The idea I can disagree with them, yet wish them well, boggles their mind. Yeah, it does. Truly. Truly it does. Now, is she Michael Jackson bad? I have no idea if she's Michael Jackson bad, but she might be. She might be. True that. True that indeed. So when I saw that clip, I just went, you've got to be kidding me. You've really got to be kidding me. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Anyway. All right. One last thing. We're going to get out of here. I want to take a moment, and we've done this for the years that we've been doing. I can't believe it's years now. Jeez. For the time that we've been gathering together on these Saturday mornings, we always take a moment to kind of reflect on the holiday weekend we find ourselves in, and Memorial Day is no different. And for those of you who don't remember the origins of Memorial Day used to be known as Decoration Day. And the origins actually go back to the days of the post-Civil War. And you had, in the South and the North, you had women going out and laying flowers on the graves of fallen soldiers, be they in the Confederacy or be they fought for the Union. And the tradition carried on going forward. Well, finally, about I want to say it's like 1868, somewhere in there. No, maybe even learn that. Hang on. I got to look at my notes real quick. Yeah, about 1868. You had Chief John Logan, who was the commander of the Grand Army of the Republic, and it turned into a national observance. Well, finally, in 1968, about 100 years later, Congress made Memorial Day the last Monday of the month of May and changed the name from Decoration Day to Memorial Day. And it was a day that we set aside to honor those members of the United States military who have passed on. Now, not everybody who's watching this live stream right now or is out there on Rumble or on YouTube necessarily has members of their family in the military. Maybe you did, maybe you have. Maybe you still have them. If you're lucky enough to have them alive, give them a hug this weekend. Thank them for their service. But if you have relatives who have passed on and they were members of the United States military, this is probably going to be the weekend you go out to the cemeteries to visit their graves. Take a moment to remember what they were in their lives. They put on the uniform so that you and I can sit here and do what we're doing today. Have a conversation about them. Have a conversation about a lot of things. They wore the country's uniform. They wore the country's uniform to defend our rights and liberties. Oh yeah, people still do call it Decoration Day to this day. You know. On Veterans Day, we will honor all veterans, living or dead. But this weekend is for those who wore the uniform and they're no longer with us. Just remember what they were. Just remember what they did. And when you plant a flag by their grave or you lay some flowers, just remember them. Anyway, we're going to go ahead and bring this train into the station. And I want to thank you guys for being here for this session of Front Porch Brunch. As always, you guys are awesome. And I love you guys so much. I really do. You are the best audience on the internet. Hands down, period. So go out, have a wonderful Memorial Day weekend. Spend time with your families. Tell them you love them. If you've got a member of the military who's still alive in your family, give them a hug and tell them you love them. And remember to honor those no longer with us who wore the country's uniform. We'll be back next week with videos and live streams in earnest. We'll be back for sure this coming Wednesday for the Wednesday night newsroom. Guest host yet to be determined. Working on it, folks. Anyway, love you guys very much. Thanks for being here. And have a great, great Memorial Day weekend. Bye-bye.